Clara's like, shit, what you putting these nuts right here? I'm high as fuck right now.
Cracking my shit.
Yeah. DT merch, man. I almost got my ass.
Get us some shirts.
You know,
Now, they're good shirts to bleed on.
Yeah, if somebody gonna find your ass on the ground with your ass beat, they might as well find you in a shirt from dtmerch.com.
A black one.
A black one right there,
Can't
man.
see the blood.
Can't see the blood right there. We got plenty more, including backpacks, hoodies, the classic black tee with the white logo. We got even shit for the new toasties out there, the little baby toasties, the crumbs. And then we also have phone covers. When you do decide to come back and subscribe, like I'm sure some of you will, do me a favor. There's a lot of ways to do it, but you got your Amazon account right there, and I have the Amazon Pay button for you. Put your username in there and your password. Go over there to that button that says enter. Yes, press that. And what do you know? Oh, shit, I pressed the button. What did you do to me, Corey? Oh, Jesus Christ. Please, don't panic. Stay calm. Don't laugh, Billy. This is not funny.
It's not
It's not funny, man. No, it's some serious shit, man. This is that toasty goodness all over your body, man. Some people don't know how to handle it at first. You know,
Where is it?
Go lower.
See, you being nasty.
You nasty. Y'all might have heard about that Nutcracker out there and his story about how he's going out and fighting mice and all kind of stuff. But the thing is, you ain't heard about them realms.
Right.
And it's Martin.
See, if you read the book,
If you read the book,
you know about the 4 realms.
oh, is that 4, Martin? Oh, damn. I didn't know. Martin's like, it's in the title, man.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. We're talking about a different Nutcracker or something?
Yeah, no, man. We talking about this Nutcracker right here. Apparently, everybody knew about the Nutcracker, but not those 4 realms. And see, what you just heard part of the story, if you didn't know about that. Turns out there's these other realms out there. Oh, but there's one dark realm out there and said, you know what? If I gotta live life fucked up, then all y'all gotta do it too. And I'm gonna mess up I'm gonna bring darkness to the next 3 realms. Woman named Mother Ginger. I ain't heard of her before. Oh, this is untold story you ain't heard with the Nutcracker.
Oh, if you don't know Mother Ginger, you don't know your Nutcracker.
You don't know your Nutcracker.
No, seriously, that's always been a big part of the Nutcracker ballet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's actually a thing they do with the ballet. There's the giant Mother Ginger, and they always get somebody who's a local celebrity, a politician, to be in the Mother Ginger costume.
Oh, when you said darkness, I thought you were talking about Morgan Freeman.
Look at this. This Negro got culture right here. Come on, man. Attending the ballets and everything. That's why I'm glad I have you here. Sounds like, Martin, this is more of an authentic story than anybody has heard before.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh, okay. I don't know, Martin. You seem like the authority. You seem like you know more about this story than a lot of other people do. And you're not definitely more than me, which is why we'll watch this trailer. We'll come back with our review, but I don't know if my review is going to count, being that I don't know as much as Martin does. Martin might actually educate me on this story here.
It's time.
They say I do not know this version of it. They say my nutcrackers have always been white. I don't know. I don't know who this dude is right here. And that's one of the things what's that?
Well, he's not even a Nutcracker.
Yeah, we'll get into that because that's one of the things that people were looking forward to with this version here is that they were going to do a very multicultural version of this. It was going to be probably the first big production and big screen version of the Nutcracker that actually does feature a black Nutcracker along with some other characters that of also of a different color, also of a different race. This is also the Nutcracker is also a story that just it keeps mutating. It's always something different.
Yeah.
I mean, from the very beginning
With the rats and
the Mouse King, the 7-headed Mouse King. But this is a story that's always from the very beginning. This has been constantly changing. This was actually this is from what I know and doing a little research on this. If I'm wrong, please tell me. But the started from the book, The Nutcracker and the Mouse King, which is by German author. This is E.T.A. Hoffman, who kind of looks like a rat himself, which is written. He has a thing for rats because I am one. Now, this is written in 1816. told the story of a girl, Marie, who, and it's kind of dark. A girl named Marie cuts her arm, and then she just starts having these fever dreams of her toys going to battle with mice on her floor. Hey, somehow
That's true. It's true. That's
yeah,
true. I'm laughing just because it's funny. But
that day, back in the day, it was a hit. For some reason, people had a thing for mice and toys back in the day. But later on, the guy that wrote the Three Musketeers, Alexandre Dumas. Dumas. Yeah, he
half black.
Yeah, half black. Well, if you can't tell by that afro right there, you know, I don't know.
Half black, half Russian. Yeah.
But
it's like both halves.
He also
black.
wrote Count of Monte Cristo.
Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, and he said, "Damn, that shit's too dark, even for me right here. I'm going to.
I'm not dark enough.
Yeah, I have to make for a children's store. We don't want to scare the kids like this. I'm going to make a lighter version of this." And it was that version that we are familiar with today. That's the one Tchaikovsky took and made his ballet version of it with all the songs that we hear. And it's thanks to him, and because the ballet was not that popular at first, and the symphony behind it was not that popular at first, but after a while it caught on thanks to that ballet and the imagery that it had and the music. It became sort of a staple of Christmas.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what made it kind of catch on. Y'all don't understand. There have been so many. This thing is so popular. The Nutcracker is so popular that it has had so many different adaptations. I think over like 20 adaptations that have been released that I can think of just right off the bat right here. Something like this is not the first time that Disney has had it. They've had it in sort of a couple of incarnations, but they even had like a Mickey's Nutcracker right there. Even recently, Tom and Jerry, they popping up in everything now. Tom and Jerry, they did something.
They did.
So I'm expecting Tom and Jerry to pop up in Django Unchained or something next. They're making these Tom and Jerry movies where they're in everything. Perhaps one of the cult favorites of the Nutcracker is there was one made in 1979 called the Nutcracker Fantasy, and it is very appropriate for 1979. It is the most psychedelic version of the Nutcracker that you would probably see.
And of happy times.
Clara's like, shit, what you putting these nuts right here? I'm high as fuck right now.
Cracking my shit.
Point is, for me saying all this, so I seem like a fair man, is that change is not is not bad for this. I mean, change. This is not the first time that this thing has been transformed into something that is probably not familiar to what you've seen before. The two directors right here, Lasse Hallström, who did Chocolat and Who's Bugging Gilbert Grape or whatever, and A Dog's Purpose, and then that's Joe Johnston. Yeah. But Joe Johnston did Captain America, did Jurassic Park 3, did Rocketeer. They've done a lot of things. So these guys got a lot of experience between them. So you think like, okay, well, Nutcracker's in good hands right here.
Yeah, from what I understand, I think Joe Johnston had started it, and then there was a point where he couldn't finish it, and so Lasse Hallström came in to finish it up, or vice versa.
Well, what they've done is they've made their own version. They've changed a lot. They've added characters. They have new twists that go on here, and you know what? All that's fine. Like I said, change is not a stranger to this property. However, the movie still falls short. It falls short in a lot of other places. For one, at the beginning of the movie, I do not like these characters one bit. In the film, and let me explain to you why, because in the movie, it turns out that it starts out with this family. You have this dad played by Matthew McFadden, and you have his two daughters and the son. And the thing that happened with them is that the kids let dad know that since mom has died, they let dad know every second that they love mom more than they ever loved dad. No, it's fucked up, right? Somebody like, oh no, it is sad, man, because dad is trying. Dad actually
trying his ass off.
He spent all night decorating the tree. He put on the last touch, which was that star a little bit crooked, and the kid coming up. Mom didn't do it like that.
Mom didn't used to do that. She used to put the thing on top.
He gave them their gifts, and the kids opened it like, well, it's not mom.
Yeah, is mom in that box?
Yeah.
I don't want it.
I know he's sad. I know he's catching hell from his kids, but I don't like him either. Because
I really did not like him.
did you not?
I did.
Really? How come?
Okay, so it's a big thing where he's like, okay, kids, we have to go to this big Christmas dance, and when we get there, you have to dance with me. And they're like, I don't really want to do that. Well, it's what's expected of you. It's like, so we live in a society where everybody knows that your wife just died. Yeah, we feel bad your wife died and all. But if you don't dance with those kids, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit about your wife. All we know is you're expected to dance with your daughters, and if you don't do that, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And he has to do it too. Like,
Yeah,
he's saying like, well, we got to do this.
You must dance with me. I'm not really into it, Dad. You need to stop being so selfish.
Yeah.
Because the
You see
daughter,
your mama died, don't mean you act like a bitch.
Yeah.
yeah, because the girl don't want to come out and say it, but because he's like, and he's the way he says it. You will dance with me tonight, right? And she's like, Dad, that's kind of fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The way he's acting is weird.
It's weird.
You will dance with me.
You know my wife's dead. You must dance with me. It's like, bitch, I'm not your wife. And the other thing with this is that he really is a bitch. Every time these kids say something to him, like, Mom did it better. He just goes,
Yeah,
he don't ever stand up for
Instead
himself.
of fucking him up.
It'd be like, motherfucker, I'm not Mom, and y'all gonna love me. Get the fuck out. They are selfish. They're presented as selfish children. They are presented as heartless children. This man, I mean, say what you will about him. I mean, look, I can see why he wants to dance with his children because he's heartbroken. He's heartbroken. He's sad. You really do feel sad for him. I mean, just by the emotional neglect that he's getting from his children, except for his older child, you really do feel for him, which makes you not like the kids even more because there's like the older girl. I mean, I'm sorry, the younger girl, Mackenzie, played by Mackenzie Foy. I don't like her acting too much in this.
Clara, yeah.
Claire, the girl Clara, like her acting is it has too much bright-eyed wonder to it. I mean, even before she goes into the wondrous world, everything she does, she acts too much with tilting her head and having her eyes open.
Wonderment.
She's looking at common objects. She gets this egg and she can't figure out how to open, and then she starts thinking, "Oh, I know, I can get Godfather to do it." And I was like, "Girl, keep your head still." It ain't that fucking wondrous, all right?
Yeah, I didn't know how much of it was her or just the
direction.
directors, the direction, and it just to me, I was like, I recognize this acting style. It's from somebody who's not used to acting against a green screen for everything.
But here's the thing, Martin, before she was even against a green screen, she was doing that. She was sitting in a practical chair, in a practical room, looking in a mirror at her doing
life.
this. They know they're going to something that's traditionally a huge stage production.
Yeah.
And they are directing this like stage actors.
Oh, yeah.
They're directing them too heavy. They're directing them like they need, like they are on a stage. And that's not what this needs. They're trying to make this mainstream, and they need to make these actors maybe a little more modernized, maybe not as stagey. But you don't get that here. Some of it downright feels like high school people acting at certain points.
Wow. And it's also because the movie is so often trying to have it both ways. Because it's trying to be a movie, but it's also trying to be an adaptation of a stage production.
And it's trying to be a blockbuster too.
Yes. Oh. And it's in trying to be all things, it's not really fulfilling any of them. And you're right about how stagey and high school play it is. I mean, but it's even down to so much of it's what's written in the script. It's like I don't know how much to blame the actors when there's nothing on the page for them to say.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate what they did with the approach of this movie. And I appreciate, again, that they tried to make this a multicultural cast because actually that worked to their benefit right here. Morgan Freeman, I know Morgan.
They got that brother some shit locks.
Man, I know. Now I get it because they got him looking like a Jamaican Nick Fury right now.
Jamaican pirate.
I feel like they've got told we're going to do some. You got some diversity hires, and they figured okay, and then he showed up, and they were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, what do we got in the props department? Well, we got a Frederick Douglass wig. We got a Nick Fury eye patch. All right, good enough. Stick it on him. He's only going to be here for a day to shoot these 2 scenes that he's in.
And he's in, yeah.
You know Morgan Freeman showed up with his Frederick Douglass wig already on. Come on now, he always has his hair like that.
And you know, and looking at him, And a hipster too. Look at that flower vest he got on there. This dude showed up to pick up somebody. He even looking at that girl. You know, we're not really related, right?
My other hand works.
You know, my granddaughter broke up with me, right? No, y'all. And then again, fuck y'all. Y'all act like I'd made him date his step granddaughter or whatever. But his performance out of anybody in this movie, say what you will about him. Maybe this is something with the controversy. I don't know, but it's very warm, very caring, to the point that it's the only thing that feels natural to me in the movie. You
are absolutely right about that.
Morgan Freeman does not want to be on the set so much. I saw in one of those Gerard Butler movies, this is no bullshit. Go watch the movie. There's a movie where they're supposed to talk to Morgan Freeman in a hallway, and Morgan Freeman says, "Shit, you better get a stunt double."
London.
Have you seen that? Like Gerard Butler's talking to a black dude that's way younger than him, and has cotton balls in his head. And I'm like, you couldn't like do a CG head or something of a
hell no.
Yeah, he said you better shoot this shit. You got me for an hour. I was gone.
It's like he told him that day. They just go grab a extra.
Yeah, they got the janitor and made him look like Morgan Freeman from the back. Morgan Freeman, he'll give you a good performance, but you better get him before the time run out. Well, I'm out this motherfucker.
When the sun goes down,
when that alarm goes off. Yeah.
I'm gone.
I go by Louisiana rules. Don't let the sun set on your black ass.
If you ask people what they remember about the story, ask anybody. Ask them what's the Nutcracker about? I don't know. Shoot, do crack nuts. I don't know. He fights a giant rat while dancing. I don't know.
All I know is a rat king. That's all I know. I remember.
There's a rat with a crown. They do ballet and shit. That's all I know. A lot of people don't know the story. However, if you ask people what the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy is like. They're like, I don't know that shit, man. But if you play this for them. Oh, that shit. Yeah, man. That, and again, that's another Disney connection right there because that's from Fantasia.
Oh, right.
So Disney's connection with this has been long in its history. But, people know that. And people keep remaking this because of the nostalgia for Christmas, I believe. Because the holidays are coming up, Disney figures, hey, we can do a big budget version of this, put our own twist on it. And because Christmas is coming around, well, this will probably last, especially with us releasing this on Halloween.
Yeah. We can get this to January.
The Nutcracker Suite, the horrifying story.
The Nutcracker Suite,
It actually sounds like a horror movie, like a dude that actually goes around cracking your testicles and shit.
Well, you're right that nobody really thinks about the Nutcracker until Christmas rolls around, and that's when the music is playing. In a lot of places, people are going out to see the ballet. It's it's on everybody's mind, so they figure like, hey, if we got a movie out, that's one more thing they can go do.
And they release it early. This will be so nostalgic for people that the symphony itself it'll last in the theaters for a long time. It's just not my type of fantasy. When I say it's not my type of fantasy, this is the type of fantasy film where the movie is so caught up in the look of its world that you don't care for the characters because they're not developed that well. They're defined by their look, by a weird characteristic, but there's no emotion behind them. Characters just pop up, and they're just you just know them because they have one or two particular traits. They have a look. And they got one thing in their personality that they do.
This is your mother's throne, Your Grace.
Have you come to save us, Clara?
She's like, what the fuck? Hell no.
What's this? Can you say that again? I don't understand your squeaky ass.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know this place existed before today.
I love Christmas.
Who asked you?
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
We barely escaped Mother Ginger.
Hey, nigga, don't be coming up here like
that. And we finally got a black Nutcracker with the greasiest lips.
Let's say the gloss.
Oh, yeah. I'll talk about that in a minute. If you look at this, just from that clip right there alone, you can see the actors, and you probably know who they are. You got Keira Knightley, who what is her thing? She just, these are the leaders of the realms. These 3 realms that they have here. She's the land of sweets. But what does she do? She has a high-pitched voice and purple hair. Eugenio Derbez, the Mexican flavor of the month.
Oh, is that who that was?
That's him. He's the funny one who wears flowers and acts flamboyantly gay. Richard E. Grant.
Okay, I thought that was Richard E. Grant.
As in, he's regal and has icicles hanging off his face. This, because he's from the land of snow and freezing. And, it's not much to them after that to actually make you care.
I will give props to Keira Knightley in as much as I didn't recognize her for the longest time. It took me. It wasn't. I only recognized her later in the film because I know the shape of her face. It's a sort of a rounded square that she's got. And I'm saying it's not in a bad way. It's just one of the things where I was like, wait, I know that jawline.
It's just distinctive.
It's distinctive. But the way the way she raised the octave of her voice, I've never heard her do that before, and I was impressed by it. Mm-hmm. And she does have to carry more of this movie than you would think. And I'll say this: when you said this story, The Nutcracker, is not for you, I've seen versions of this where I was actually engrossed by it. Matter of fact, the oddest thing. There is a Barbie movie, Barbie and the Nutcracker, and it's CGI.
I saw that.
Yeah, and
I didn't see the movie, but I saw.
But it exists,
yeah.
and it's something my kids would watch. I watch it with them, and I was like, you know what? I gotta admit, this is actually entertaining. They tell this story in a way where you understand it. You go on the adventure. They rotoscope out some ballet scenes that work really well, and they bring in all the different ethnic characters who are in the story when you see the ballet.
Is this it?
That's one of the early parts of it. You get later in the film, it actually more stuff happens.
I said this should look cheap. Right
That's
some porn off your phone.
That's actually that's not it. That's
Mark, that's the bootleg version.
There really is. But it actually explains it. It's more like the story you talked about before, where something happens to Clara and she shrinks down. She goes into this world with the Mouse King and the Nutcracker, who is an actual Nutcracker. Because in here they call this guy the Nutcracker, but he doesn't resemble a Nutcracker. He's in no way a Nutcracker, other than the fact that they call him a Nutcracker.
Helen Mirren, she should be able to do something, but they write her as such a generic villain in this. Yeah. Isn't that, because we don't see enough of her story. She just comes out of a curtain, and that's it. Hey, shit, where you come from?
With a wooden ass sword.
That
whole wooden pirate sword.
That Peter Pan sword right there. Yeah, we don't know her story. She comes out of nowhere because we're into more of the spectacle of the world, especially her section.
Oh yeah.
But the world overall, her world and the rest of the realms and all, it's a hollow world that they live in. You feel distant to it. Mm-hmm. You don't feel anything. You don't feel any emotional attachment to these characters. This is the Wrinkle in Time holiday special.
Oh my God! The two movies that it most reminded me of was A Wrinkle in Time and that Peter Pan movie.
Especially Wrinkle in Time, because A Wrinkle in Time had elaborate costumes, sets. All this stuff was so random. It's almost like they spun a wheel and you just chose what adventure to go to next that did not have any tie to anything you just saw.
They're also both movies where they tell you what's happening and why it's important, but they don't show you. They don't sell it.
That was a big problem with this movie. Yeah, you're correct, man. You were right about that. I mean, well, at least I agree with you. People might disagree and they might like this, but I don't know, man. I just don't. I did not feel I was living in this world. I don't feel like these characters. I know they're fantasy characters, but they have to be made to feel real. Somehow. On some level, and it just wasn't there. What are you gonna say, Bill? I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say I know they fucked up because he said it wasn't his fantasy and Helen Mirren was in it. So
yeah,
so it wasn't his fantasy.
Well, if you can't make me happy, you got Helen Mirren, and
your dick hard. Helen
you messed up.
That's it. Yeah, and she had a sword too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you cast her. You were halfway there. This movie has been patting itself on the back in this marketing for months now, talking about how multicultural it is. Oh, how we're changing, how we're changing things right now. We innovating, we're trailblazers right here because we cast a black Nutcracker.
With greasy lips.
With them greasy ass lips. Like he been eating fried food for the last 2 days.
Popeyes right there, the cast
I know.
services.
Yeah, they put a ton of makeup. He looked like a dude who's trying out for a Prince knockoff band or something right now. He just came from Popeyes, man. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to be racist, but he got them big greasy chicken lips right there. I'm just telling you how it is.
All right, man, you ain't gotta say chicken lips, man. Come on.
I'm just telling you, man. Okay, he been eating fried fish. He been eating fries, something with a lot of grease on it. All right, and you know what? That's fine. Okay. If you want some big ass shiny lips, put them in there, but do something with them. Cause I thought, damn, he got them big ass juicy shiny lips. He gonna make out with this girl. Cause it's the Nutcracker. The movie, priding itself on being multicultural. The Nutcracker, most versions that you have out there, they have alluded to some romance that had a romantic subplot
between Clara and the Nutcracker.
And in most versions, that is her prince in shining armor. He takes her to await the land of dolls, in order for her to be queen because he married her.
Right.
And
because in some versions, a spell was cast on him that turned him into a Nutcracker.
Right.
Yeah.
It's lifted, and he's a prince.
And the guy who plays the Nutcracker, they call him Philip in here, is Jaden Faworo Knight. The only time he even touches that girl is when he absolutely has to. She has to almost die for him to even touch her.
but at the same time, because I was going like, all right, so they're not gonna do the romance, but they seem like they might, but they just don't want to have an interracial incident. At the same time, he seems significantly older than her, so I'm like, if they do it, it seems pedophilic.
You know what? Martin, he did not seem older than her. In fact, he seemed just right. They just didn't want his black ass with her. I'm telling you that right now. The only time that chick had to be hanging from a cliff, and he had to save her because they didn't want to lose their star.
I guess we're like greasy lips there.
Hell yeah. In fact, there's even a moment in the movie where it's like an awkward Tinder date because he's standing there looking at her. And he just waiting for something to happen, and the girl is just like, "Okay, well, good night, friend."
I saw that, and I was like, I was more irked by the fact that, like, hey, we got a black Nutcracker. It's like, wow, and you made him the most nutless Nutcracker you've ever had. He cannot fight. He can't do shit. She's more competent than him. He just wanders around with that sword and that hat. Barking orders.
He's not
sorta.
He's not that good of an actor. The art direction, I think, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I think this movie is gorgeous. I think it's beautiful, and I was taken in for about half the film just by the artwork alone. My favorite part in the movie is actually where they go back to the more traditional roots, the true roots of this property, which is the ballet. They have a sequence where they actually do it. Admittedly, it's kind of crowbarred into, but
that's one of the sequences where I talk about where they tried to have it both ways, because they tried to say, hey, this isn't the ballet, this is the movie adaptation of the book, but we know you like the ballet,
but
so we'll put some of it in there.
Yeah, but we got to play that music though.
The ballet tells the story of the 4 rounds, how your mother discovered our
Shh, I'm trying to watch this. They take CG and they blend it well with the practical sets, I think. As you saw right there, you saw the flowers on the ground coming out. That's obviously CG, but some of this is a stage set too. And some of the stuff in the realms I thought was pretty cool, where they blended CG with some of the practical sets. You truly do get a feeling, like we say, there's a lot of movies that give us a feeling of Halloween. I thought that this movie captured the feeling of Christmas when it was at its best. It was capturing the feeling of Christmas and memories of Christmas very well. Go ahead, man.
I don't know. What it did with Christmas made me feel Grinch-like, where I was like, this is too much. Y'all are making me want to throw
Martin's
up.
going to rob all the realms with a little dog he abuses.
I do feel like the very best part, like with the art direction on what they do with the realms, it wasn't bad. I mean, some of it's good, and even the design of the Mother Ginger mech was cool.
I don't think there's any emotion to take home from this that'll make this movie stick with you or you want to stick with it. I don't think it's that terrible if you watch it, especially during the holidays. It's something that if you hear it in its own, that musical play, you'll be all nostalgic and you'll be fine.
Right.
It's a rental.
Production-wise, they do put some work into it, and yet as nice as it may be at times, even at its nicest, it still doesn't do anything that I thought was new or innovative. I want to be fair and say, hey, it's not for me as someone who's a big fan of Nutcracker. Okay, It's not for me. And they touted this as, hey, we're taking this, we're doing an adaptation from the book. But sure, look, if you are a young girl between 4 and 9 and your mother just died, hey, this could be the movie for you. Otherwise, I give it some old bullshit.
Really?
I thought it was a colossal waste of my time.
Wow.
I was just sitting there angry watching this.
Damn.
That is not where I thought you were going to land on that.
I got to give it to my man. He kept his cool.
Yeah, he sure did, didn't he? He was like, everything's cool and it's some fucking bullshit.
It is, man.
God damn, man. You flipped at the end, brother.
To get this property and have so much you could have done, and to look in there and see what could have been done, and know they went,
Martin, all right.
God damn.
Damn, Martin, you turning green as we speak right now.
You
Hey, I
Grinch.
love Christmas and I love the Nutcracker. I just don't like that shit.
You're an asshole.
You're a meat boy.
You really are cool.